Many history buffs know of the Qing dynasty, fewer understand the complexities of its fall, and even fewer still grasp the turbulent path that led to its rise. And I'm gonna change that. Hello everybody, this is my channel, and today we are going to talk about the rise of the Qing dynasty. The Qing dynasty, also known as the Great Qing, was the last imperial dynasty in China and existed from 1636 to 1912. It was also the largest empire in Chinese history, stretching from the Chinese Sea to the Himalayas and from Mongolia to Vietnam. At its height, the empire had a population of 450 million people, and nearly all of its neighbors were tributary states. This video is the beginning of a 3-part series. In this episode we'll explore the rise of the Qing and how they were able to conquer all of China. The second part will focus on the expansion into Central Asia and Tibet, as well as the Qing state during its zenith. The final video will examine the decline of the Qing, looking at the many challenges and tribulations the last Chinese dynasty faced before its collapse in 1912. So without further ado, let's begin. The story of the Qing dynasty begins with a man named Nuhachi. He was a minor chieftain among the Jiangsu Jurchens, but eventually rose to become the leader of all Jurchens. Nuhachi was born in 1559 and spent his childhood in the household of a Ming dynasty general in Liaodong. There he learned Chinese Mandarin culture, military techniques, and politics, all of which would later aid him in his rise to power. After ascending the throne of his tribe in 1612, Nuhachi initially considered himself a friend of the Ming dynasty and a guardian of its northern borders. However, this relationship changed as he turned his focus towards the unification of the Jurchen tribes around him. This unification began when Nuhachi waged war on neighboring Jurchen clans to settle personal disputes. From there, his campaign snowballed into the conquest of all Jurchen tribes that were not under Ming control. In 1616, he unified the Jurchen people into a single political entity known as the later Jin, and began preparing for war against the Ming dynasty. In 1618, Nuhachi completed a document known as the 7 Grievances. This list outlined his dissatisfaction with the Ming dynasty, and shortly after its publication, he declared war. The Jurchens first invaded the Fushun region in northern Liaodong, eventually conquering the entire Liaodong peninsula. The Ming suffered a series of defeats at the hands of the Nuhachi and failed to regain control over the region. At the same time, the later Jin focused on building relationships with the Mongols of the northern Yuan dynasty. Nuhachi formed alliances with the Huaxin, Jarud, and southern Khalkha Mongol princes. These alliances enabled him to expand further into China and Inner Mongolia, as he also participated in Mongol wars alongside his allies. Nuhachi died in 1626 and was succeeded by one of his sons, Hong Taixi. Like his father, Hong Taixi had ambitions to conquer all of China, and as a skilled general, he continued the war against the Ming dynasty. In the early years of his reign, the Jurchens faced setbacks due to the Ming's acquisition of Portuguese cannons, which they used effectively on the battlefield. However, in 1634, Hong Taixi neutralized this threat by building his own artillery corps using similar technology. A key reason for this was the defection of many Ming soldiers and generals and engineers to the side of the later Jin due to their dissatisfaction with Ming dynasty rule. One of the actions of Hong Taixi that defined his rule was his adoption of the name Manchu for the United Jurchen people. He also conquered Inner Mongolia in the year 1635 and added the Mongol people to his empire. In 1636, the Mongol nobility, Manchu elite, and his Han Chinese subjects suggested Hong Taixi to rename the later Jin to the Great Qing and declaring him the emperor of the Qing Empire. Thus, Hong Taixi became the first Qing emperor in history. Shortly afterward, he invaded Zhongshan and made it a tributary state. Hong Taixi died in 1643 and his 5-year-old son Fulin succeeded him. However, Fulin did not rule alone. His uncle Dogon served as a regent and was the de facto ruler of the Qing dynasty until his death in 1650, after which Fulin ruled independently. During Dogon's regency, the Qing subdued the Dao people in Siberia and other northern nations, but the main focus shifted to the south. The city of Beijing was the next goal. The city of Beijing had just been conquered and sacked by a peasant army. In its final years, the Ming dynasty not only had to resist the Jurchens but also deal with a growing number of rebellions. One major rebellion was led by Li Zisheng, who captured Beijing and declared the short-lived Shun dynasty with its capital in Beijing. To stop Li Zisheng, a Ming general named Wu Senghui allied with Dogon and defeated the rebels at the Battle of Shanhai Pass in 1644. Afterward, their combined forces marched into Beijing and captured the city for the Qing dynasty. The same year, the Qing Emperor Fulin was granted the title of Son of Heaven, symbolizing that the Qing had officially received the mandate of heaven. From that point on, the Qing launched a campaign to conquer the whole of China proper. Over the next decade, they defeated Ming loyalists, rebels and pretenders. The last Ming heir, Prince Gui, fled to Burma but was eventually captured by the Qing and executed in 1662. Before fully conquering all of China, the Qing had to deal with a border conflict in the north. The Russian Tsardom had expanded into Siberia and come into conflict with the Dao people, who were Qing subjects. The Russians tried to subjugate them but were repelled by Qing forces. After some fighting, both sides signed a mutually agreed peace treaty. During the conquest of former Ming territories, some Ming loyalists under the leadership of Zheng Shenggong fled to Taiwan, where they continued their resistance. The Qing pursued them and finally conquered the island in 1683, bringing an end to the Ming resistance and completing the Qing conquest of China. Well, that's the end of the first video. I hope you people enjoyed it. If you liked what you saw, write a comment below and share the video to help more people learn about the Qing dynasty. Thank you for watching and have a nice day. By the way, I sincerely apologize to all the Chinese people who will watch this video. I will probably butcher some names of the various people whose names I will mention. So I feel very sorry, and I'm currently learning more about the Chinese history. So yeah, sorry.